Hey, welcome to the Bluejay Banter postgame show. We're live here at the Let It Fly Sports Bar in downtown Omaha. It is rocking again. Was rocking before the game and certainly after the game. And obviously, with college football going on, it's a crazy place to be today. So get a chance to stop on by. Great food, great drink, and just a fabulous atmosphere. Welcome to the postgame show. I'm Tim Kruger. I'm flying solo today. Josh still not. The voice still isn't back, but he promises he'll be ready for Iowa on Tuesday. But we're going to cut right into Coach's Corner. We have assistant coach Jeff Vanderloo with us. Coach Lou, thanks for joining me.
Oh, always a good time to be here. What a great atmosphere it is.
Yeah. So, what was said at halftime? Because the guys came out with I don't know. It just felt to me like came out with a little more energy.
Well, it was certainly when we can get the ball inside to Ryan, that makes just such a ton of difference. And Ryan really came out and exerted himself and put himself into the game. And when he wants to do those types of things, he's a good a force as there is in America, actually.
Yeah, he hit first 7, I believe, in the second half.
Yep, and we ran 2 quick plays to try to get him, make sure to get him good looks down there. They were doing a pretty good job off of our pick and roll stuff, and so we just came out, just straight went into a post down there with him and threw it straight in there to him, and he did a phenomenal job there and took it right through the guy's chin, and then he had that 3 kind of bounce right for him. Yeah, it bounced right for him, but he shot that 3 so much better this year that I think all of us have some decent confidence when he does shoot that thing.
Yeah, so talk to me about, did they do defend the pick and roll like you thought, or did they change some things up?
They did it a little bit like we thought. We thought they'd be in black coverage, which they were, and so they were backed off. But they did a good job of making our guard believe that they were coming and then backing up into Ryan. I don't want to say they were undercutting him, but they were certainly backing up into him and making him uncomfortable there when we tried to throw that flip up a couple times early in the game. And so what you saw was like Trey, we told them just to keep their dribble and just give Kalk a look. That guy backed up. You see Trey go up and dunk that one, and stuff. And then they laid a couple up. Steven laid one up in the second half. It's because the way their center was playing things, and he was faking and trying to get back to Kalkbrenner, and which just basically left the lane wide open.
Yeah, I know talking to some of the guys earlier in the week. They were pretty confident about the way, understanding the way they defended the pick and roll, and you could kind of see in the first 5-6 minutes there were a little bit of confusing looks out there. Like, wait a minute, this isn't. I'm not seeing what I thought I'd be seeing.
Right. I think North Dakota State did a good job of really being on and off. And when they got off to Kalkbrenner, maybe we weren't expecting that quite as much as what they were. And they did a good job. And then once we got that figured out, it was fine. I mean, we run black coverage every day. That's what we do. And that's, I guess we, in practice, our guys see that all the time. So once they kind of saw how what was coming at them, things started turning around.
Boy, and what was happening during that period in the first half was Trey was getting into that 10-15 foot range, and when that happens, you might as well just put it on the board. What a game, 21.7 rebounds.
Yeah, Trey, when you get Trey to his spots there in the mid-range, he's as effective, again, as any player in America is. It's Mac's not a big mid-range kind of guy. He doesn't really like the mid-range shot, but he loves Trey's mid-range shot. And one day he was kind of biting on Isaac Trout, and I was like, Isaac kind of looked confused. I said, yeah, he lets Trey shoot that all the time because he can. And when Isaac gets a little older, and we've seen it enough that everybody kind of starts going like, yeah, go ahead. But Trey is he's so good in that area.
So good. And Josh and I were talking about in the last post game, like the average fan doesn't realize like that's not. He makes it look so easy. It's not that easy.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Again, that's why Mac really doesn't let hardly anybody else even shoot that shot, and you don't see that a lot out of Creighton in general. And but it's almost encouraged with Trey if we can get him to his spot. It's and he just got a nice little lean where he leans kind of back on it, and so it's so hard to block.
And now Baylor's kind of developed that a little bit too.
Yeah, Baylor had a little of that when he came to us from South Dakota State. They did that some with him, so it's certainly while it's a little new to us and our fans, it's not necessarily new to Baylor. When he can get his spot, he likes that. He kind of does a little turnaround, gets to where he likes to be. So, I mean that's pretty 2 phenomenal wings there.
Yeah, and the other thing in the second half too is you got some defensive stops, got some steals, and then you got out on the break, and you could just see once it started flowing. Then that's when everything goes.
Yeah, offensively, when we can get things flowing and get into that type of a tempo, we really it's it's really fun to watch, honestly. I was Max like, what do you think? I said we didn't get into enough of that in the first half, and some of that was, I mean, we came off the ball screen, got to where we wanted to, and we shot it, so it was hard to kind of get into a whole bunch of passing and moving that we normally do in our offense.
I think one of the promising things, down toward the end of the second half and so forth, was that Fran got going a little bit. He's really been struggling with his shot. I know he had the groin injury. It's held him back. But you could see the confidence growing with him throughout the half.
Yeah, and then about a week and a half ago, he really hurt his thumb. And so he couldn't really snap. I was actually talking to him about it before the game, and he said when he shoots, it really doesn't hurt, but when he tries to catch a ball is really when it hurts. And he, I'll tell you what, this summer he was so effective. And then we went to the Bahamas. He was back kind of okay. And then in the fall, he was fantastic. I mean, it was like we have got to get Franny in there because he's been so effective. And then he missed a couple, and we just got to make sure he keeps his confidence because he's a big part of our team.
Yeah, but like we mentioned, Josh and I mentioned the other night, we thought he was the unsung hero of the game because he was out there really running the point with that group and really keeping everything under control because he knows, and every year there's a guy that Mac trusts and some people don't understand when Fran comes off the bench and is struggling, but Mac trusts him. He knows where to be on the defensive end. He knows where to be on the offensive end. He knows he's going to be kind of a coach on the floor.
No doubt about it. And when you say unsung hero, he's kind of the unsung hero every game. Yeah. It's just people sometimes don't understand or see what we all see. And it's like today in our walkthrough this morning at 8 o'clock, it was we're running through North Dakota State's plays, and he's calling every one of them out. And it's just when he's on the floor and he's calling them out, it just makes everybody else's job easier. And he knows exactly where everything's going. And he's just like another coach on the floor, and he really. He's not a person that is concerned about how many points he scores or how many rebounds he scores. He's concerned about us winning, and that's we'll take as many of him as want to come.
All the team, like most players are on this squad. Wow, what a terrific job you did on Skunberg. You hit 25 the first game.
Right, and we had watched him, and he had a good St. Olaf. He was good, and he's I mean, first of all, he's a good player. We have good friends at South Dakota State, so we kind of keep in touch with that.
And he's your only senior.
Yes, yeah, and Baylor still remembers a lot of these guys from when he played in that league. So Skunberg got off to a great start this year, and I thought Trey started out on him, did a great job. Then we switched a little bit and put Trey on 10, who was kind of hurting us a little bit. So Trey's length really hurts a lot of people, honestly.
Yeah, and then Baylor went on him. Of course, Baylor, like you said, knows him a little bit. But, yeah, I thought Damian Wheeler-Thomas was pretty impressive out there today.
Yeah, I thought he
15 points.
Yeah, he came out especially early and really attacked. He was really aggressive. And then rolls up, made a couple shots. He made a couple over Steven, made a couple over Kalk, which a lot of people don't do. And I thought he did a very good job, especially early. I thought he was really the main reason why all that was happening for them.
Now, traditionally, NDSU's been a team that shoots three fairly efficiently and fairly often. Today, only 6 of 14. Were you expecting that, or did you do something defensively to kind of limit that?
Well, we really worked on trying to. They do a bunch of false motion at the beginning of almost every possession, passing and weaving and all that. And we really worked on trying to push that out. And if we could get that out far enough. We felt that gave us a good advantage as to what was coming and let us probably get out on the arc with a little more pressure than what we sometimes do.
So let's kind of just run down first of all the starting lineup and just kind of go through. We played 2 games now, and so let's start with Baylor. I mean, I've seen a Baylor. Everybody's kind of seen it. He took care of his body in the offseason.
Really did.
It looks in great shape. He seems so much more comfortable, obviously, in year 2 in this system. He's just looked fabulous.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about these starters here later, there's going to be a lot of good conversation because they've been real effective. I guess I don't really know what else to say. Little things that Baylor does that people don't always understand too is what a great passer he is, what a good player he is. He had a ball tonight in the in the second half over in the kind of upper top left, and he threw a skip pass over to the opposite corner in front of our bench, but he kind of lobbed it over there so that it allowed, I believe it was Mason Miller, to get over there and get his feet set, and where a lot of people were just zoomed it over there, and he because of the way he passed the ball, Mason was able to, and it's just little things like that that people don't understand how good a player and how good of a knack and feel that he really has.
Yeah, he's off to a tremendous start. We talked about Trey. Stephen Ashworth, I was in love with him last year at Utah State, and he's lived up to the billing. You know, I've just said at practices, like I've told people, I'm so amazed that, you know, Mac has had to bring in during the games, he brings a point guard over, and some very good point guards.
Right.
Has to talk. Him and Stephen can say 2 words, and they both are on the same page. Like, he's just another coach on the floor.
No doubt. I mean, certainly he's a little older, but he's got so much experience, and he understands how to play, and he understands how to play the game right. And so he's doing everything within his power to do what we would like him to do. And what a great addition to our squad. And as you know, many people consider him one of the best shooters in the country. And with the team of shooters we have, he's one of the best shooters on our team. There's no doubt about it. So it's I mean, and what a joy to be around.
He was telling me the other night, because I'd mentioned to him that when I watched the Utah State, I mean, teams in the Mountain West were like, their whole defense was predicated on stopping him. And he said, yeah, you know, I was getting wore down. And he goes, that's the pleasure of playing here. There's so many weapons that teams can't do that he feels really free. And
right.
Now, tonight, obviously, we want to cut down on those 4 turnovers.
No doubt. That's basically what Mac talked about. He said after the game, and he was like, if I had one thing to say is we can't have 12 turnovers, fellas. Right. That's something that's got to go down, especially because we got such a veteran team, and they all kind of handle the ball pretty well. It's not something we should ever should get into the 12.
A lot of those were early, too.
They were, and you know, I mean, it's we're still certainly learning to play with each other, but it's early season. You'd hope that once things go on, that doesn't continue.
We talked about Mason kind of got going a little bit from the outside tonight, 3-9, 3-5 from 3, and have you seen progressions in his defense over the practices and so forth?
I think that's probably where Mason has made the biggest strides, is defensively and on the glasses. Which I mean, he's such an elite shooter that's really not going to get a lot better. It's a pretty high level. You know, I mean, he certainly can probably get a little better handle on the ball, but his rebounding and defensive have gotten a million times better, and that's why he's in the starting lineup, and that's why everybody trusts him. And you know, he's a good teammate. He moves the ball, and when it's his turn to pop one, he hits it.
Yeah. Isaac, I feel like, is getting a little more comfortable every practice and every game. Like today, he looked more comfortable than he did Tuesday. Yeah,
and I think you'll see that. I mean, all along, it was like, if we can get Isaac and just keep playing him, that, you know, hopefully Christmas time he's really, you know, with it. And he's been, the improvement he's made since, first of all, the improvement he made over the summer was crazy, because he's coming to a new system. He's playing a new position. You know, our 4-man is pretty much a perimeter 4. Where a lot of times Virginia's 4-man is a 4. He's the blocker, and so it's he's now out on the perimeter now. He's got to make perimeter moves. He's got to guard perimeter people. You know, and it's every day he learns, and you know, he's a willing learner and a great dude, and I got nothing but positives to say about Isaac, how far he's come.
We're looking at that position, 16-6. That's, you know, you can take that every night.
Every single night.
Yeah.
Every single night.
Fred, again, you know, it showed great hustle out there tonight. We got to get him to knock those free throws down, because he is gonna garner enough fouls. But Fred continues to be a force, and you know, I think that's the great thing this year is, even when, you know, you've got one of the premier centers in the game, and then you put Fred in, who could probably start for 2/3 of the D1 teams in the country.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah, Fred's he's a good player and continues to get better. We got to keep that motor rolling, and you know, keep him playing it with high energy, I guess. And he needs to continue to rebound. He's got to rebound in his zone. He's got to rebound out of his zone. And when he does those things, he's pretty effective. There's not many teams have the luxury that we do that have Fred sitting there.
Absolutely. And Josiah is coming along as well.
No doubt. The last month, he's probably our most improved player. There's no doubt.
I told you.
Yeah.
I told you. You kept saying it's just the practices you're at.
Yeah.
I must have spurred him on.
You need to come. You keep coming. Don't miss a game. So no, he's been the last 3 weeks to a month, he's certainly been our most improved player, and is kind of it's kind of all coming to him, and it's good to see, and good to see him smiling and making shots, and he's got a great burst with the ball and can really get by a lot of people, and so we'll hopefully he continues there. We've been playing Trey most of those backup minutes, but we're trying to get Josiah enough minutes so he can get comfortable out there.
Sure. A lot of people ask me about Jonathan Lawson, and all they see is, the threes down in the Bahamas and the threes in the first game and the exhibition game and so forth. And I said, well, there's more to the game than just shooting the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Is just a repetitions on the defensive end where he really needs to prove? Because sometimes he's also he's so new, he's a little bit unsure on the offensive end as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's our system. There's a lot there. There's a lot there offensively, and there's a lot there defensively. And all of a sudden the season starts, and Mac was on a map that we screwed up a scouting report on an inbounds play today, and how we can't do those types of things. And so there's just it's not where. He says his biggest problem is it has mostly to do with the tempo that we play at, and that it's so fast, and he's got to run the court, and he's honestly really gotten a lot better, and he really can shoot the ball. He's again is another one of our guys. If we had a shooting contest and he won it, I would not be surprised. And I know everybody's going, oh, you got Steven, or you got Trey, or you got Baylor. If you let him stand there and shoot. Jonathan is certainly in that, as is Mason Miller and Isaac. And, I mean, who knows who would win on any given day, but he certainly would be in that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. It's something you don't think about, the pace we play at. You're playing at a slower pace. A guy like Jonathan can, jog down the floor and go, okay, they're running this. I got time. You don't have time.
Nope.
Man, it's coming at you right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But he's making good strides, and he can, like I say, he can really shoot that ball.
All right, so today, shot it you shoot 60%. I'm going to say you shot it slightly better in the second half, 62. That's still pretty fantastic for
That's
a game.
awesome. Yeah.
Like you said, the 12 turnovers a little concerning, especially when, they only had 10. It seemed like Seemed to me like you had more steals there in the second half, but that's how the stats rolled out. But another just outstanding shooting night, and that's what this team is based on. Let's face it.
Yeah, there's no doubt offensively. I read a thing the other day they were talking about that we have two of the best wings, in our guard court is as good as guard court as anybody in the country's guard court. And they might not even be our best player.
Yeah.
So it's certainly it's fun to watch, and it's really fun to watch them play together, because when that ball gets whipping around, it's beautiful basketball.
Well, we're going to segue into this. People have been asking me this for year after year after year. We're playing in the Big Ten Challenge. Why in the world would we not play Iowa? And we're finally getting Iowa, and I know it's a game dear to your heart. Have you seen much of the Hawkeyes yet?
Yep, I've seen every game.
Okay.
Everything. I watched them last night. I watched Iowa. I grew up watching Iowa Hawkeyes, so it's just kind of what I watch now. And they were on last night. I've watched every game they played. They're good. They offensively, they move the ball. They play a lot like we do. They're fast. They all got a bunch of 3-point shooters. I'd like to believe we got the advantage inside, but I guess we'll find out on Tuesday. But they've had tons and tons of success. And as to why we haven't played them, I believe for a while, when it started out, we were on the home games and they were on the home games. And so then the next year we would be on the away and they would be on the away, so we could never. Yeah. And then I think we or one of us sat out a year, which got us back again.
Yeah. I think last year was a possibility too, but yeah.
So that's kind of, and then when they go to match them up, they try to match up the tops against our top against their top, and their,
Sure.
And so there's sometimes you just can't do it, or
Sure.
For whatever the reason. But I know for a while that was why we didn't get to play Iowa. But we're certainly excited. Decided to play them here at home.
Yeah, we used to play it. We played them a home and home back in the day, and then we went back there. I think it was when Rodney Buford was here. We just went to Iowa and played, and we beat them there. And then we played in the NCAA tournament with Alford was their coach.
Yep.
And they beat us out in New Jersey.
My first year we beat them in Des Moines.
Yes, and then we played them in Des Moines.
Yeah,
exactly. But that was part of the Big Ten Challenge too. Was the reason it's going away is they're going to have what are they?
Well, they're adding
18
3 more
18
teams,
teams,
and yeah,
18 teams,
and they
we're
just
going to have 11, and so
Yep.
it just won't work
Yep.
because half the teams wouldn't play, and I think because they're adding conference games, they just don't have that many non-conference.
Right. It's just too many hard games for them to play.
And I think they're going to
Yeah.
keep the ACC deal.
Correct.
So they yeah.
And they might just keep that until that contract's up. It just happened to be our contract was up this year.
Yeah,
So
right.
we certainly understand on their side why what is happening, and like Max says, I'm not saying if we had to play 20 conference games that my feeling wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. Plus, we have a Big Ten challenge every year.
Yeah.
Right.
We do. We got one coming up.
We're talking with assistant coach Jeff Vanderloo here on Bluejay Banter. We're live at Let It Fly. Jays with a huge win, 89-60 today. You brought up an interesting point about styles. Is it easier for the team when you get your scout? Is it easier for them to play a team that plays like us or not?
Sometimes, I mean, and sometimes we struggle a little with real physical teams. I would say probably if I always kind of go, somebody wants to try to outrun and shoot us, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this thing Tuesday night might be 110 to 102. You know, I mean,
Right.
you just hope we're on the 110 side.
Well, I hope it's exciting because, halftime will be about my bedtime. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a nap before this one.
Was that just a TV deal? Are they doing a triple? I haven't even looked.
Somebody must be playing at 7 o'clock, where usually they play a 6 or a 6:30, which then kicks us into the 8.
Because they usually do like a 5:30
or
and a
6.
7:45 or whatever.
Yep, and so they must be playing like a 7, which pushes 6.
I wondered if they
pushes
were
us to a
doing
9.
3.
3,
You know,
yeah, like a
yeah.
5 and a 7.
But it could
yeah.
be 2 West teams.
Yeah.
You know, it could be DePaul or Marquette could be in that group.
And I think there's a little tip. I think the game is actually going to go at about 9:10.
Yeah,
is what I've heard.
Yeah, it can flow over.
And then
just
flow maybe to 9:15.
just like the game the other night.
Yeah.
We had to wait for.
Yeah, we stood at the score table and waited for
St. John's game
yeah.
to be over, which
Yeah.
I was amazed anyway because when I left here to go over to the game, I was like, this game ain't getting over for another hour.
Right.
And it was like way behind.
Yep.
Tell people what you do on your average week. What do you do? Because I know you used to have all kinds of duties, and we've expanded our staff, and some of those guys have taken some of that stuff away from you.
Thank God. I do a little bit of a lot of things is what I really do. It's I certainly help Johnny McHugh with the travel, but I guess I've been watching Iowa's zone offense or Iowa's zone defense and their press for the last week or so, and that's kind of what I've done there. I do all kinds of anybody that sends a video into us of a player or anybody that we think might go in the portal, which is already a list of about 10, 12 guys. I've got them and we kind of have them ranked as to, if all of a sudden we need a wing, well, here, Mac, here's the first guy I'd look at. Here's the second guy I'd look at. And as the year goes by, you hear all kinds of rumors or whatever it may be. And so I spend all kinds of time, most of my day actually, I probably spend watching individual players that do not play on our team.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
whether it's a high school player, like for instance, when we got Stephen Ash, I'd watched tons of. I watched every basket he's made in the last 2 years. I probably watched 6 games of his. As we kind of started really narrowing in on him, that was where my whole day went, was watching him versus another couple guys that we were recruiting at the same position, and they were good players too. But sometimes it's not about who's the best player; it's about who's the best fit for us.
Sure.
And like I always try to explain it best to people that are that where you can really tell the big difference for us is you got to be able to run. If you can't run, you can't play for us. And if you're a 1, 2, 3, or 4, you really got to be able to shoot.
Right.
And so if we get 4 men that can't shoot, like the old 4 men that want to stand in the high post and go high-low, those guys, they can be really, really good, and we're not really that interested.
Yeah, right.
That's why we think Jackson McAndrews, who's coming, is just the perfect fit.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is. I happened to have a brief chat with him the other day when he signed, and he's very excited about it.
Yeah, as are we.
Yeah, a little thing with Steven, which a lot of school here. So I was talking to him the other day, and sometimes you don't realize the littlest things that will pull a player later on when they go to the portal. When he said it, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. I watched him so much last year, and when he came in the portal, I went, oh my God, there's the guy I want, because I just fell in love with this guy. But what he said was, their games were on Fox Sports 1 too, and so they would do their shoot around. They would come into the locker room, and then our games were on.
Yeah.
And he'd sit there and go, man.
Yeah.
Look at that. How great would it be just to lob that up to Kalkbrenner and, and he goes, here I am, So little things like that it doesn't even come into play like, oh, we're on the same network.
Yeah. No, as I watch, you're going like, this is a good fit for us right here, man. This is a good one. So.
Oh my God. He's so mature, obviously, but just he already understand. The other night the Nebraska game was on here, and he looked up and said something like, geez, they're not scoring as many as we did. And I said, he said, you already get it.
Yeah.
We're not going to have to tell you how big that game is.
No, and it'll be a tough, to go into any Big Ten team's home court and try to get a victory is you're going to have your hands full. And so, going down there, it's a battle every year, and it's, being hour apart certainly cranks things up even a little bit more. And Fred does a good job, and he's a great guy. Doug played for him. I've known him since he was in Ames, and I got a lot of good things to say for him, all but one night a year.
Yeah, Fred's a good guy.
Yep.
So this is when we look at this is so much different than last year, where we went to Maui and then just we just hit a gauntlet.
Came home, Texas and
Arkansas, Arizona, Texas, boom, 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 four in a row.
Yep.
Where this year we've had a chance to kind of ease into it. We got Iowa, then Southern, who's a good team.
Yep.
And then into a tournament that's not obviously the quality of Maui. It never is every year. And then, to our first true road game will not be till the very end of November. Oklahoma State.
Yep.
So a little different schedule the way it's set up. Was that kind of done on purpose that, last year, I did not realize until I looked at the stats how much that Maui effect had on teams over the years.
Yeah, no. And every team that came back last year had almost the same effect. I think all 8 of us did. It was like we were watching.
Arizona went into a big slide.
Yeah, Arizona went into a slide, and first of all, that tournament is awesome. I've been to all the tournaments, and that's as fun and good and environment and everything.
You got to go, people.
Yeah.
You got to go. And what TV does not, I think the guy sitting next to me was from Arizona. He said this. He said what TV doesn't portray is how loud that gym is.
It's like, it reminds me actually back when I used to coach high school forever. Yeah. It gets wild in there, and it's what a great atmosphere, great teams, and it was a great deal for everybody. Yeah. It's just that when you came home, it was like you were wiped out, and we, of course, we lost Ryan then for about 6 games.
Sure.
But it was a great learning experience for us. We hung together, and good things happened.
Well, it's an awesome deal for me. I could leave there because the game started at 9:30. I could leave there 5 minutes down the road. I could play Royal Kaanapali. I was on the team.
I wish I was with you.
But and then of course we've got Alabama. And speaking of NDSU. Former NDSU player on their squad who's doing very well.
Very good. Actually, I just talked to Preston Murphy this morning, and he was like, "Oh, he's good, Lou. He's really good." And we certainly looked at him out of the portal. We just didn't feel we had quite room there, but he's a really good player. And their point guard is a kid that we looked at too out of the portal, and when we took Stevens. So we're certainly. Excited that they're coming, and it's great to see Preston. He's a great friend of mine.
Yeah, I can't wait to
talk to him all the time.
Yeah. We're talking with Jeff Vanderloo, assistant coach at Creighton, about the season. So where do you think, I told people this, like the last couple practices I was at, it looked like you guys were like, God, you didn't say it, but you could tell. This team's ready. We're just trying to find things, goofy little scrimmages and stuff to keep them motivated and stuff. Because you were so far ahead being with the summer trip and so forth.
And everybody back.
Yeah, and everybody back.
Sometimes it takes players a lot of time to get acclimated, and it takes Stephen hardly any time to get acclimated. So it was just, there's no question there was a little lull there, right? And I don't want to say but we did a lot of situational stuff, or this is what we're going to do when we're up 5 with 2 minutes left, or we're down 2 with 30 seconds. And we just did a bunch of it yesterday at practice again. Just trying to get them ready for situations that are about to hit them.
Yeah. you had an 8-minute scrimmage with, I think, Baylor and Kalk were on the bench, and Josiah made a layup, and they ran out there like they just won the national title. It was just, they were just keep motivated.
Yeah.
So it's what's Tuesday night is going to be, because we haven't had this here. I don't think, have we? No, we haven't. So this is going to be special with Iowa, because there's a lot of people across, not only in Omaha, but across the river that are Iowa fans.
Yep.
So it's going to be a great atmosphere Tuesday. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh,
I can't wait.
I'm super excited. And that's other than my phone rings about, hey, can I get a couple tickets? And I'm like, I'm out. I'm out of tickets. So I'm certainly excited about it, and got lots of friends that are Iowa Hawkeye fans.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, so it'll be certainly fun.
Well, Lou, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And Coach's Corner segment is sponsored by CareMinders Home Health Care, our title sponsor. They do a terrific job, and when you're in need of care for your injured or ill or senior loved one, reach out to CareMinders Home Care. Their agency is comprised of certified caregivers who have many years of experience. You'll receive versatile, flexible, and customized care for your comfort, peace of mind, and well-being. You can give a call, 402-532-1383, or go to CareMinders.Nebraska.com. That's CareMinders. Jim's a huge Creighton fan, and he just a fabulous guy to work with, and fabulous, and we're so thankful that he is a member of our team here and helping us out do these post games. So as we mentioned, 9 o'clock tip, probably going to be about 9:10 on Tuesday night. We just want to run quickly down the scoring today. Trey had 21. Baylor was 17. Ryan with 13. Mason Miller chipped in with 9. We had some nice production off the bench with Isaac Trout and Fred with 7, and Francisco with 8. Like I said, a little too many turnovers today, 12. But rebounding, strong effort by Trey with 7. And Fred King chipped in with 6 off the bench, so that was fantastic. Shot 60%. An all-around great effort. I predicted we would win these 2 games by an average of 35. I nailed it. So there we go. All right, fans. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back. I know it'll be late, but you can join us either live here at Let It Fly, where you can hear the post game, or go to our YouTube channel, Bluejay Banter, and hear the post-game show there. Make sure if you go to YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button. It helps us out a ton. And if you miss this at all, obviously, you can always go back and catch it later on tonight and into the weekend and into next week before Tuesday's matchup. And don't forget, Bluejay Banter will be here on Monday. We got head basketball coach Jim Flannery will join us live, and we'll talk to him about the terrific women's team they have. So thanks so much. Enjoy the weekend, and go Jays.